Welcome back to another episode of my F125 My Team Career Mode. This is the events that happened after the Canadian Grand Prix, where we received our second straight podium as a team, this time with a second place for Jack Crawford, following up on the third place with Enzo Fittipaldi, meaning that our team now has some fight in it. And I am extremely stoked as we head to Austria. After the events of Canada, Max Verstappen is the championship leader. Red Bull leads the manufacturers by 1 point, and we are tied with our rival Haas. But that's then, and here is now. As we jump right on into this episode, we are currently at our race shop with plenty of time between now and the race in Austria, which is perfect for us because we needed a little bit of a break so we can start doing some of these extra things around the shop. We went and checked our messages as usual, and of course, we got a new message talking about our new rivalry, which is going to be taking shape, as well as how it was an interesting weekend where one of our cars managed to get points and the other car didn't. The good news is, coming into Austria, we are tied with the MoneyGram Haas F1 team, which means that's two American teams fighting each other. We've seen this before. With my one new training point, I decided to kind of focus on doing a personnel focus to reduce time of things being built by like 10%, which is perfect for us. I go ahead and book that in on the activities timeline, and then I try to work my way backwards to forward. So I definitely make sure I took care of that, and that was the only thing I did in regards to that. And of course, as you can see, we do have a new rivalry, and they're just letting us know that our rivalry with Haas is pretty important for us. It helps us with our fan rating. As you can see, coming into Austria again, we are 1 point. Red Bull is 1 point ahead of Scuderia Ferrari, and we are tied with Haas and just 2 points behind Aston Martin, which is really a huge shock for us. We've had 3 DNFs as a team, between 2 of them for Jack Crawford, 1 for Enzo Fittipaldi, and a lot of nerves, I guess you could say. And Max Verstappen has won like 5-6 races already this season, so he is basically inevitable at the top of the charts. Looking in at the development side of things, as you can see, the cable assembly was done, so we decided to go ahead and work on tire blankets, since that will be done just in time of the upcoming Grand Prix. The stators need to be done now, which will also be done right in time for the Austrian Grand Prix. And that really kind of sort of just fills everything in for us. We are 3 days away from our aero breakthrough, which means we'll be able to get more aerodynamic parts on the car a little bit sooner. And I'm really looking forward to it, as we've kind of been bottlenecked for a little while and we can't really move forward in some of these places, and we need to. So it's about that time where we actually put in those breakthroughs, and hopefully those breakthroughs will come through and give us the opportunities that we need in order to build our teams up. As you can see, both cars are pretty much even, with Jack Crawford having 14 parts on his car and Enzo having 12. Plus, I don't know if you guys noticed, the R&D chart is getting smaller and smaller. So I'm really looking forward to this. So we go ahead and book in a advertising for more engineering, and then of course they are all out of activity timeline for the owner, and then I start working on the rest for engineering, personnel, and corporate. At this point now, we're going to go ahead and move forward. You can see the list of things that we have coming in. A front gurney wing flap failed. We have the stators development complete. We are getting a congratulations that we beat our rivalry, which is great because we were able to put Sauber behind us, and we're just able to keep moving forward. We don't want to be measuring ourselves to Sauber at any point, and just beating them in a quick rivalry that lasted literally no time at all was huge for us. But we did get the aero development breakthrough that I was looking for, and as you can see, this means that our aero breakthrough being level 1, we can finally start upgrading some of these newer parts for the car. We need to do this, and even the Vista backs out as we hit phase 2 with the engineering facility. So that is huge for us, because now phase 2 means that we can do a lot more, we can build in a lot more, and it's really nice to see that, you know, it backs out to kind of show more of what the facility is getting. It's almost like it's developed and built itself out a little bit more, which is really cool to see. So now that we're in phase 2, that means we've got more access to more things, and we've got more access to better upgrades for a facility. And you can see right here, I was head over heels in love with how much R&D we could do and we could pour into a large majority of these parts. I even thought about, just not even holding off on trying to get any bonuses, and we're just going to go ahead and start paying for these things at their, face level cost. So we go ahead and get a front downforce and rear downforce research started. Those both are going to be done at around the same time, 17 days. And that should be pretty much everything we need to worry about in this regards. We did have a front wing gurney flap fail though, so I did go ahead and throw that back in there yet again to make sure that gets in time for Austria. And we were able to finally get the stators in, and now we're going to be able to put in the spark plugs for development, which will be after Austria. One of our upgrades for development for durability also came in, and we were able to finally improve the turbos, which we've been really struggling on turbo durability, as well as ICE and all the other stuff. As I'm kind of going down seeing who's got what, I decided to go ahead and take that part and equip it to Jack Crawford, who has been going through his engine components a lot more. And now you can see we have facility improvements available now that we are a phase 2 program here in engineering. Although I don't really worry about the phase 2 level things right now, I really want to focus on all the baseline groundwork. So I'm kind of, taking my time looking at what we have, what we don't have, and what we can really focus on. And I decided to go ahead and get a development expansion and get that, started. So we're now able to develop 2 things for the chassis all at once. And then future self needs to slow down on clicking through a large majority of these things. But as you can see, I'm kind of scrolling through and realizing, I could have bought some really good stuff there if I, took my time. All the rest of the facility improvements are still kind of going on, but I do take a look in at corporate and realize that we've got some money to burn, and I don't really know if corporate really needed anything at this point. So I just kind of was mulling it over, as you can see, like the indecisiveness. But then I decided to go ahead and book in the merchandising department, get that started so that we can start making a little bit of extra income from the sponsorship and, of course, just from being there on the track. Now, I take a look at the driver talks, which is very important for this season. And our drivers are nowhere ready to talk to us, which is fine. We still got 42 days before we can talk to them. We've got the team owner liaisons in, and that's great for corporate. And overall, I'm just really excited for what's to come and what we're working on and things like that. So taking a look at our activities, I decided to do a quick aero research blitz, which is going to help reduce the time for the aerodynamic stuff. And this really came in handy before we had a department event. Now that we've reached phase 2, we've got an extra 100 resource points just for getting there. So think of that as like an extra bonus on top of what we've already accomplished. And as you can see, there's a plethora of things coming in for the car, which is huge for us as we're getting through our research. We're getting through the development phase. We're going to be able to throw some more upgrades onto the car. The tire blankets upgrade is now complete. Now we're going to go ahead and throw in some roll dampers so we can start getting that ready in advance of the British Grand Prix, because that'll be done after Austria. And, the whole entire time I'm just thinking, man, we've really actually put together some really good development on this car. The 115% resource modifier has been great. But now that we're about almost to halfway on the season, I've realized something. It's about time for them to start looking at our team and changing up what we can, start developing on, get that extra wind tunnel ATR time. Because we've had a lot of it since we've been a new team on the grid, but now that we've moved up in the points, that might change sometime soon. And it's something that I really wasn't expecting as I go ahead and take the tire wear and put it on Enzo Fittipaldi's car. But again, the gap to Sauber is getting closer and closer each and every time we add something to our car.
Hi, Chief. Just reminding you that because we've hit the halfway point of the season, our testing time will be reset based on our performance. In short, the better we do, the less testing time we get, and vice versa. Check your research area to learn more.
So as you can see, the weekly resource modifier is now active, and of course we've gone from 115% now down to just 100%, meaning that we're officially considered a mid-pack team, but we are a low tier mid-pack team, and teams that are behind us are now going to be able to upgrade a little bit faster. That includes, yes, Sauber. Now with the front wing gurney flaps on, again, I'm going through a large majority of this trying to figure out who to put what to on what car. And I put it on Jack Crawford because, again, Crawford is technically our #1 driver for the team. But I also realized that a large majority of these things need to start going towards Enzo's car as time goes on, because he's going to start needing these things if he's going to at least be a little bit more competitive week in and week out. Same with Jack Crawford. So that's why I'm really just trying to push as many of these things over as fast as possible, just to kind of help our team. I go back and forth on improved energy storage cells or their positioning, and I eventually choose on the improved energy store cells. But now we can go ahead and get ready for the Austrian Grand Prix weekend.
High up in the mountains here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Coming through on Q1, coming towards the end of the first lap here, we've been a little unsteady with the car, and the time that we're going to put up is not going to be the greatest. It shows that we are P4, but we're just ahead of the Haas of Ollie Behrman and Hulkenberg. For lap 2, we go ahead and go for a second lap because, as you can see, we're down in 16th. We are using a brand new set of tires for this run, so I was hoping to get a little bit of a performance advantage. And for some reason, is either the evolution of the track or the car, we just were losing time in each and every last sector. We just kept losing more and more time, and so it got to a point where I really wasn't sure what was going on. I tried to come down to the line, trying to gain just a little bit, just a 1/10 of a second, and I don't. And I come across the line in P16, 2/10 off, and I'm thinking we're out. But we weren't. We actually made it through just by the hair of our chinny chin chin in 16th. That really is a small confidence boost because we could have been out of like Q1 here at Austria. And I really do feel like our car is good. It's just that the evolution at that point for that second lap was just not where we needed to be. So in the Q2, as you can see, I'm right behind Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari, and I've been getting a little toe off of him each and every straightaway that we've had DRS, and that's really helping us because I've been using that to kind of, keep going forward as I get just a little wayward on the left front, but I get back into it. I got to stand in it. So that's all I can do. So as we're coming down through Sector 2 into Sector 3, we're coming down onto the pit straight, and I get a little wide, and I have to chase the car, and then we come off the corner and then go straight down to the start-finish line. I'm pouring on the ERS and DRS, and that's good enough for P6 right now. So I do a second lap, knowing that we are P11. I've gained 7/10 of a second. And now it's dropped down to 6/10, but across the line, that will be just enough to put us into Q3, meaning we have some speed, and the car really likes the cloudy setup. So the clouds were here in Q3. I decided to go back out there running a new set of soft tires for the third qualifying session, coming around to the final corner, going down the long straightaway, and we're going to cross the line, and it's going to be P6. But
okay, goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of around 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill of turn 3. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tsunoda, Russell, Charles Leclerc and Antonelli, Piastri, Sainz, Fittipaldi and Alex Albon, Hamilton, Ocon, Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, Lawson, Bortoletto, Ollie Behrman and Nico Hülkenberg, Gasly, Doohan, Hadjar and Jack Crawford rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today, Anthony Davidson. In Formula One, Ant, we take every race as it comes, and there's always another race next week. But some milestones are worth thinking about, and this double figures now for our new team.
Yeah, the team's 10th appearance. They've done well to this point. They're getting their foot through the door, but there's a lot more to come. Much tougher tracks where you've got to get even more performance out of your car.
Okay, incredible.
As we park up for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix, one thing is on my mind. We made it through Q3. We're on the hard tires. We did have an option to go onto the mediums, and I chose the hard because I feel like that's going to be important for us later on in the race. So we're up to 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. We get a good start compared to Sainz and Piastri as we go ahead and go to the left. We stay to the left. We don't go to the inside, and we go 3 wide up the middle with Leclerc, Piastri on our right side. We got Antonelli right in front of us. That was a huge move to get us up into P6 on the hard tires, mind you, because usually you don't have a lot of grip. That means I gripped them things up as best as I could on the warm-up. Now, right now, I'm tucked up behind Antonelli, and there's a little bit of a struggle to get around him, but I decided to settle in. No need to rush. We're in a good spot. I'm learning from my previous aggressiveness on the track as we take a look back at the start of the 5 red lights. As you can see, we're here at the 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go yet again. But you can take a look at this. You can see a lot of cars moving over, trying to guide themselves into a good position. And here's that 3 wide into the corner as we actually make 3 passes, which is huge for our team. You can also take a look back at Sainz here on lap 2, where Sainz is now battling against Oscar Piastri as we're still stuck behind Antonelli. We've got Albon, Piastri, Sainz, Leclerc all in a straight line, as you can see me right there behind Kimi Antonelli. And you can see a 3 wide battle in the middle of the corner as Piastri comes out the victor next to Leclerc and Albon, while Lewis Hamilton just kind of watching behind Ocon, of all people. On to lap 3, the battle behind us is still raging on as we actually have gotten past Kimi Antonelli at this point. And it's Albon making a dive up the middle up on the right side next to Oscar Piastri, but does not really get that job done as we've actually now closed up to Yuki Tsunoda at the same time that battle was happening in the little quick replay. So now we're behind Yuki Tsunoda, who's behind George Russell, who is behind Lando Norris. And I'm thinking to myself, we could theoretically get past the McLaren of Lando Norris if I actually play my cards right. But I get a little snap of understeer there, and then it turns into oversteer, so I had to correct, and that chance kind of went away. That chance went away really fast. So I was just thinking, it's fine if I just have the battle with Tsunoda and George Russell and let, Lando Norris kind of carry the mantle for the McLaren team. And I just kind of settled in, just stopped being so aggressive, didn't want to kill the tires, knew that this was going to be a long run no matter what happens. I'm good. We're actually in the catbird seat, and this is a track that really is, for some odd reason, just like, the track before at Canada, it's just really suiting our car. I don't know what's about it. We're just literally suiting the car in this stretch of the summer, and I'm really enjoying it. As I'm starting to take a look on the left to the right of Yuki Tsunoda, I decide to go left and try to cover him off here on the outside, but I've compromised my line. I actually get in the gravel, get back out of the gravel, let the tires clean themselves off. Yuki Tsunoda is now able to get away from me, as he is now 9/10 of a second and growing behind George Russell. So you can see that the DRS is now pretty much going to be ineffective for me and Yuki to try to catch back up to George Russell and Lando Norris. So we can kind of kiss that battle goodbye at the front half of the field, and that's okay. You know, we're not going to sit here and get podiums every time. It's been a miracle that we've been able to get the 2 podiums that we've gotten, and we just kind of have to take it as it is. So as you can see, I'm trying to work my way right back up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda, as we're now 1.7 seconds back from George Russell, and we're just kind of floating. You know, we're just kind of floating in between here. We're staying ahead of, you know, Carlos Sainz, who's gotten past Kimi Antonelli, and we've done what we need to do. You know, we're just past Tsunoda on the outside of a very unconventional corner. We have the DRS, so I'm going to try to push on towards George Russell, Lando Norris, but again, the car is just not that great, so I wind up losing more time to him. And here on lap 7, we had an issue. I go right through the gravel and the car spins out here, and I do an amazing job keeping it out of the wall, keeping it off the racing line, and I decided to just, you know, quickly burn it down, get it back going. And here's a nice little replay. You can kind of see where I went wrong. I went too far over, and I just had too much throttle, and you can see the spin so close to the American Express wall there, but I avoided it. And that's what was all we needed to do. We just had to kind of save the car. Now, we did lose quite a few spots here. As you can see, more cars are going to come streaming past us as we have to get back up to speed. I stay out of the way. I don't, you know, come up and block anybody. And here we are now in P11 behind Lewis Hamilton, but our tires were not fully cleaned off. I lose that 11th spot to Fernando Alonso, but I stay ahead of Esteban Ocon, as my team is telling me, let's change tire strategy. Let's come in on lap 13 instead of 12. I'm fine with that. No big deal. I'm going to now race with my head kind of between my, you know, legs here and just kind of be real. I panicked. I was mad at myself. I gave up on a large majority of things, and I made the dive bomb that I shouldn't have made, and that got me stuck on Fernando Alonso. Now, I lose more positions. I'm thinking, man, there's no way. And then I'm beached. I do get myself free, but it's just in time for a red flag. As you can see on this replay, we're now on board with Fernando Alonso, who's going to look over at his right. He doesn't see me back there, so he's like, oh yeah, we're good. He's like 5/10 back. There's no way he could. Oh my God, what is that? The dive bomb of the century. That's what that is. That was the nervousness and the nerves coming back to bite me, and that was something that I should have never have done. So we wound up getting a red flag as Fernando Alonso stayed kind of beached, and you can kind of see again the contact right there. But surprisingly, we came out with no damage. None. No damage to our car. No floor damage, no anything. So we're on the 5 red lights for a red flag restart from 17th now, and we decided to just go on the medium tires. We decided to just go for it. So we go right up the middle. We force our way through, and from 17th to 12th up to 10th as we take the extreme inside line to get past so many cars. We almost had Lewis Hamilton there for 9th, but you know, Ferrari power versus, you know, our Renault power is not gonna hold up. Let's just say it like that. That's as nice as I can make it. But we make the move eventually and get ourselves up to P8. Huge for us because we honestly needed to get back up into the top, you know, 10. We have a top 10 car. Anything less than that is just an embarrassment. So yeah, we're P8 now after those second 5 red lights, and I'm really, you know, grateful that we're able to make the moves that we're able to make. I get into the gravel just a little bit as we go ahead and take a look back at the restart of the race, the resumption of the race after the red flag. And you can see I went from P17 and just kind of forced my way up the middle. Everything kind of split for itself, and I decided to go 3 wide up the middle, on the right side. Sorry, I wasn't in the middle. I was on the right side, and that's really what kind of set us up for where we are now. As you can see, I'm taking a lot more risk that is unnecessary for our car, and I have to just kind of go back to how it was for the first 5 laps. Just relax, get back into a groove, get back into the swing of things, and everything will come to me as the DRS finally re-enables itself here. I get into this gargantuan battle with none other than Alexander Albon for a large majority of the stint. Psych. I didn't get into a real major fight with him. I got the DRS, and then I kind of drive myself almost all the way off the track. I'm really glad that this is now paved and not gravel. A long time ago, it used to be gravel, and that's dating myself there. But we get past Albon, and Albon was able to fight back next to us, and that kind of is just the nature of the beast here. So we kind of work our way back to the inside, get back around him. I get a vehicle condition because I was concerned about some damage from the red flag, but there is no damage. So we're up to P7 at this point, as Albon and Hamilton behind us are swapping positions left and right. And I'm right behind the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who seems to may have had an issue because DRS, ERS combination with our car should not have been able to fight him at all. So we take the outside line and get our move booked in on him. Now we're getting to set our sights on George Russell and Carlos Sainz, the other Williams, who has been flying really high so far this season. And as a Williams fan, I am not that upset about that. I'm happy that Williams is running as good as they are right now this season. So with the move done on George Russell, we are now up to P5, which is where I think we are going to have our net true position, honestly. And now I just get to set my sights on Carlos Sainz, who's on the hard tires. And as you can see in here on lap 13, I'm finally catching up to Sainz, as I've already dropped Hamilton, Leclerc, George Russell, and all them. They're all behind me, so all I have to focus on is just the guy in front of me. If I can get past this Williams, I know I'm scot-free. So I make the move with the DRS and the ERS on the outside, and bada bing, bada boom, I don't make the move yet. But here we go. Down to the right, to the left, and I push out a little wide to keep Carlos Sainz behind me, as now on lap 14, Sainz gets back at me with the DRS, which is, again, so powerful at a track like this. And I'm on the outside, and that's okay. I wind up actually getting DRS, and you can see here on lap 14, yet again, here's another little replay of Carlos Sainz making that move. And then I make the, gutsy decision to stay on the outside and just put the throttle down just to get back ahead of him. That had to have been frustrating for him. Now on lap 15, same thing. It's just going to be a back and forth between me and Carlos Sainz. And unfortunately, I was just thinking to myself, the battling with Sainz is actually holding us up, because Yuki Tsunoda is vulnerable. He is 4 seconds ahead of us. If we can just stop fighting each other, we could catch Tsunoda. That dream went out the window on lap 19 when I looked up and realized we're still losing time to the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda now is 5 seconds ahead, or 5.6 seconds ahead. Meanwhile, I'm still fighting Carlos Sainz, and rather than make the dive bomb that I made on Fernando Alonso, I decided to kind of bide my time behind him, get the DRS yet again, and this time bookend the move on a different corner, since all the other corners aren't working properly for me. So I made the move on this one, get to the inside, push him a little wide to the outside. Unfortunately, though, that is beginning to open the door for Charles Leclerc, who starts getting within 2 seconds of us. Now I'm getting frustrated, fighting against Sainz. Sainz is getting frustrated with me. I push Sainz wide, and unfortunately, me pushing him wide has given one of the Ferraris the opportunity to get his DRS, which is not great for me, because on lap 21, Charles Leclerc is now after me after he's already passed Carlos Sainz. Plus, tire wear is beginning to become a problem. As you can see, the rear tires are now at 44%, 46%. I can't really see that. It should be like 46 or maybe even 48. The rear tires are screaming that they're getting worn, and that's okay for me, as I'm getting really hounded by Charles Leclerc, of all people, behind me. That guy is all over me. I thought I had enough with Sainz. I didn't. I had more coming for me. It was just going to be a Ferrari. as we got yellow flags behind. Don't know what it's for, as I dip a wheel into the gravel, and that would actually be a godsend because that gives me just enough turn in as Alexander Albon is out of this race for Williams, which is probably going to give Carlos Sainz a little bit of anxiety because we are now 4 laps to go to the end. As Leclerc gets the DRS off the front stretch, I get the DRS detection for the middle stretch here, and I'm able to get the power down and try to chase after Charles Leclerc, who breaks out a full half-second lead on me. And rather than let him go, I decide to go as deep into the braking zone as possible without hitting him before getting on the power, using as much DRS as possible and ERS, pouring on all the battery just so I can get back ahead of him, because I know if I let this Ferrari go, he's going to check out. He's going to ride off into the sunset. He won't catch Yuki Tsunoda, but he's going to definitely drive away from me. And here on the last lap, it's a last-minute battle between me and the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. So I'm using as much ERS as possible because I don't have DRS, obviously. And I make a cheeky move to the inside, and we actually did bang wheels there for a second. I get the DRS, and then I ask for a vehicle condition on the last lap, which I don't need to, and we actually got the move done. Now it's Carlos Sainz versus Charles Leclerc, which is perfect for me. I just got to maintain the tires, because if I don't, I'm going to spin out. The car is unstable in any of the corners. 59%, tire wear on the left rear. 50 is actually almost all over the place except for the right front. And I'm just nervous. It's just nerves at this point. We've been on a really good stretch of races lately. As Charles Leclerc looks on the inside, I slam the door emphatically on him. We make the move down into the corner, and finally book in this amazing Austrian Grand Prix with yet another top 10 finish, meaning we've gotten more points. 4th place for our nice Honda NekoDarius race. Said Honda NekoDarius. For our NekoDarius GP. For those of you who know, you know why I mentioned Honda.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
And of course, what 3 race victories, a hat-trick of wins, does for a driver's confidence is huge going forward in the championship. They've got the energy on their side now, and it's for the others to try and stop this progression of victories.
And it's time for that special moment for our special 3 today. The podium awaits our top 3 finishers. But there can only be one on the top step. Your number 1, Max Verstappen. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Max Verstappen wins the race over Lando Norris and Yuki Tsunoda. Enzo Fittipaldi, which is us, finishes 4th. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli round out your top 10. Oscar Piastri finishes outside of points for McLaren, which is not what Lando Norris needs. He needs both cars to be in the points, and Oscar Piastri missing out on points is horrible for him. But not a very bad race for us. I'm very excited for what we had. Max Verstappen, of course, inevitably wins again. Jack Crawford has climbed a position or 2 and finishes in 20th. Actually, it looks like he actually beat Isaac Hadger, which is unlike Jack Crawford. So that means that his car is getting better for him, and that's actually means a lot for me, because that means if he's starting to make passes, that means that our car is getting better. So really helped out Jack Crawford, and of course, in finishing in the top 5 and getting some more points. So more confidence for the team. We're now leading our team rivalry over Haas by still 10 points. We were tied coming into it. Now we have 10-point cushion, meaning we shouldn't have to worry too much about them as the season goes on. They're not going to be up here scoring points. We're not going to be up there scoring points constantly, and that's fine by me. I'm okay with that. This is how it's going to be for us as a small, team, and I'm really excited. Well, if you like today's video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'll keep on with the Formula One content, and hopefully my NASCAR content will also come along with it. I hope you guys will hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be easy, everybody.